Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Dirt 3. I want to start here for a new day, and it's kind of weird how the profile just is right here before we hit the menu, and then we get the autosave warning. It's kind of odd that it doesn't just immediately have a continue button like we've seen in so many other games, but everything seems to be a little bit different on some of these menus. A little bit of cleanup work probably should be done on it. The other thing that's a little bit weird as we jump into this race is so many race games that I've seen have like an incredible amount have tried to cram an actual story in it. So you're playing a video game version of something like Need for Speed instead of just giving you the races.
But there's going to be standing water and really low visibility. Brake early going into the turns until you get a feel for it.
New day, new commitment to actually driving correctly instead of letting the throttle control. One of the things that could be pointed out here is some of these features are not, I don't think, possible. Like, maybe on the newest consumer end cars you might have some auto steering for collision avoidance, but they're not going to have auto steering for an entire path. And then corner braking and throttle management, like, these things don't really exist in the real world, whereas anti-lock brake systems do exist. Of course, dynamic racing line don't exist. Maybe somewhere you could make a system like that, but stability control very well may exist in the games. So this is another one of these truck races where I don't know why they rev their engine. I'm much more used to the style of pressing down my foot as soon as it says go and not getting a false start, which the video game itself is going to stop me. So I'm trying to look at the line, and if I see at the top of the line any red, I'm going to pull back on or release the right trigger accelerator. Otherwise, I'm going to just leave it. So I see that he's red here, and instead of going all out like I normally would, I'm trying to actually play. And at the very least, what this feels like is I am following the way the game wants me to play versus just holding down the controller and winning. It's kind of a shame, but I can't really complain about it too much. The idea that you can really just win here by holding down the acceleration and following the green line. Here we've got some jumps happening here. So this is almost a race I would like to do a second time, and with the same settings just go all out and see what happens. See if it actually does, even on casual, cause me to spin out or hit the center, or not the center but the edges, and crash. I looked at the achievements on this game. See, now I didn't slow down that time, and the auto throttle just slowed me down anyways. So yeah, I think I'd want to turn auto throttle off if I was really not just trying to breeze through this real easily.
Post that footage on YouTube. It rocks.
I guess the smelter brings out the best in you.
Yes, another great race.
They don't use your nickname very much, because we picked that nickname Great One. They've used it once so far. And I'll continue to do those extra objectives that give me more rep. until I find something else out. And we get Kenwood Racing is now interested in me. Good. Good to know. Doesn't really change anything. Probably not.
DC's just announced a new challenge, and they want you, Superstar. What do you say?
So the challenges, in particular, there are achievements for getting that done in on Platinum. So getting all the challenges done on Platinum, which pretty much guarantees I won't bother to even get all these Steam achievements. This is just one of those games where I could spend an extra 10 hours trying to do that drifting challenge, because I'm really not that good of a racer. But I can still enjoy this game knowing that racing games aren't my expertise, and that it would have been very easy to run into this game even from the beginning and say, I just don't know how to criticize this game. I don't know how to experience this game, and I don't know if this game is a game for people who aren't expert fans of playing rally car racings. So I think on these races in particular, just looking at the green path and seeing if that turns into a turns into a red line telling me to slow down. I'm kind of losing some stability here.
100 through narrow gate.
And see, this is just back to holding down the accelerating. Just the whole race, just hold down the accelerator the whole time. Let the throttle control and everything. And see, I don't exactly know what the backfiring means, so the game's didn't explain that. It could have done better to tutorialize me, because there is a lot of confusion and there's a lot of different styles of races here, and so even though on casual it seems like you can play all these races and have a decent amount of time, maybe it will eventually just become blatantly obvious. It's pretty obvious that on casual you're gonna win with very little challenge, particularly on a race like this where you don't even have other people on the ground, so I don't even know what I'm doing. I might just be setting the pace for my race next time.
To finish.
So it says first, but really, was there a possibility of getting anything besides first? I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of confusion. Where I just don't understand what the races want me to do, other than just go fast and follow the green line. And I think that could have been explained better. See, that felt like that was going to be a cutscene or something there, and it wasn't. It was just a loading screen to a loading screen, possibly? Nice and bright. And see, I heard the beeping, but it was showing me the car ahead of me. I should try one of these races. Try to just accelerate and see what happens. See if perhaps even on the maybe on the easier, the more difficult settings, you can jump the gun and get penalized. That would explain why we saw one car was penalized. You can see this isn't very much NASCAR though. These races aren't about a demolition derby style of playing or
60 intermediate
crashes
right
happening. And NASCAR technically isn't also about cars crashing, but
right.
a lot of the fans are only there to see the crashes.
Right long.
See, I'm like lapping people, it seems, because this isn't a race where
Into
you're
easy
supposed to
left.
pass people.
Easy right.
If anything,
Hairpin
maybe the
right.
reason why I have to pass people is because of the
60.
number of how fast I went the first race.
40. Easy right. 80. To finish.
I really kind of wonder about rally car racing, whether it's a sport that people really want to watch a lot of, more than something that car fans would actually want to drive in.
That was a great rally event.
Way to go, mate.
Like, I think if you are moderately rich, you probably could go into a rally car race and drive, whereas if you are even very, very rich, you wouldn't be allowed in a NASCAR race. And I only completed the objective once. See, that seems like that's the maximum you can per race. Alright.
You've qualified for the final. Brilliant.
You're a rock star, muchacho.
Listen, just keep your head on straight and you'll do fine.
So, we're already to the final. Let's move to the buggies now. Let's see. Still don't see any reason why I would want to go to any other car as long as I've got this Brembo racing team objective bonus. It seems like you're just gonna be severely penalized for if you play anything besides Brembo. And there really doesn't seem like there's enough races for you to not take the Brembo ones. They give you
You brought the car in
2,250
clean last
points.
time. It's ready to
Rep
go when you
points.
are.
Nice comment there. I didn't have any accidents, so that's good to know. And I guess we don't really need to do anything, so just driving on ice and snow again. Now I was gonna try to jump ahead on this race. This will be a difficult one for visibility. Actually, this one's a great one to see when the car brakes, because it lights up the brake lights quite a bit. And so I'm holding down the acceleration completely. This would be very helpful for me to look at that and see when I should try to match what the game is doing. But the game really needs a comparable system where it says during this point in the race you were following what you should have been doing, and during the other parts of the race you were just ignoring it and the game itself was auto throttling you. See, I see a little bit of red there, and it's putting an actual brake on, and there's no skidding or out of control from that auto braking. And it really needs braking, so I'm not even doing enough by letting off of the accelerator. I need to actually pull the left trigger, which I barely ever use. See, it feels like if you wanted to become an expert at this, you would have to replay your races and watch the footage over and over again, at least 2 or 3 times, and see, oh, in this turn I did exactly what the right thing. Here I did exactly the wrong thing. And you're going to have to know the racetrack, and you're going to have to know what to do far ahead of when the game tells you. So I imagine you spend a lot of time just looking at the map at the top center, which isn't enough of a map really. So that would be another feature I'd like to see them change, is maybe could you get the entire map on there, because particularly in rally car racing, that's important. Like, I know there's a turn coming up, but what happens after that point? There's until I do the first turn, I don't know. I wonder if on casual, if I just sat there, would it accelerate for me too? That's another consideration. With the auto throttling on, it doesn't seem like it even gives you time to do it. So it's not letting you make a mistake and then correcting when it sees you've made the mistake.
You're really proving
It's
yourself
just-
this season.
Yeah, but we always knew you had potential, right?
It's just doing it. Here's that guy again, Mohammed bin Salamim, I'd say, and I believe that's some Iranian flag or something. I'm not sure. So I find it interesting as a Westerner to think that that would be something they would do, but I bet they do actually like racing quite a bit. I apparently didn't actually accomplish what I was supposed to do. I wondered, is that because I was trying to play the right way instead of cheating and just going flat out? So we have another drift showcase, and this might prove itself to be kind of difficult. And the car stats that I'm
You
seeing
really
here,
tore up the track last time, Speed Demon. There's no better feeling than having the fastest lap, unless you count winning the race.
and having the fastest lap and winning the race apparently don't mean the same thing always. So, like, vehicle setup feels like something I should change, but I'm just gonna leave it and start. And we need 8,000 points to pass the challenge, and I may very well just try it and then move on. So I guess I want to go very, very tight in the corners. There we go, we'll get on path. I have 1:30. And we need to get an angle. Unless I just want to do donuts on the street. So I'm past 8,000. Seems like with the extra time, I can do this a little bit easier. And might as well not bother to do rewinds. Going around that tight circle is going to prove itself to be difficult. And again, I guess I just have to ask, like, how much better can I do this if I I have 10 seconds, and I need a couple thousand more. And that kind of means you have to find a nice area. And I was barely about I was almost
All right,
exactly
bronze
1,000
medal.
points short of a silver. And let's look at the replay here and just look what the car looks like. Can we do something further back? And can we do something? It seems pretty ridiculous and pretty crazy what I'm trying to do. Drift racing and rallycross racing are kind of exact opposites. Maybe not exact opposites. That's probably the wrong way to put it, but I would say definitely distinct and different things. I'm just crashing it. It shows the rewind. Well, I didn't rewind, it just shows the reset. And then I just run around. And see, I don't look really cool doing this, do I? But I do feel like I had a better car this time. So, maybe eventually we'll unlock a better car, but I don't know. I really am not certain we're going to get the reputation up high enough. Like, we're at reputation 9, and I think we've seen cars that need reputation 25. And so let's just take this. Next car. And which one do I want? Do I want a 90s or an S2000? I'll just take an S2000. And with the number of cars, with the way it pushes me to pick the ones with the most reward,
You've been doing so well in head-to-head races
I
recently.
don't feel
No need
like
to
I'm
break
going
that
to
streak
race
now.
every single car. And it really feels like there should be a system where I actually do race every single car. Also, these races are very repetitive.
120 uphill.
So one of the things I would look forward
Medium
to
left opens. Camber
as far as Dirt 4 is they need to drastically increase the number of race tracks.
Medium right.
And that's something I would like to see.
Medium left.
It
Camber,
seems like
keep in.
there's different styles of street, snow, ice, water, all of that.
Jump.
It would be very nice if all of those were adjustable or changed for different races. Like, if I was doing this while it was snowing, that would be different than just doing it while it's overcast. If I was doing this at night instead of day, that'd be different. If I'm going backwards half the time,
Crest into.
that
Medium left. Very long.
keeps it
Cambered. Keep in.
interesting. I wouldn't personally be opposed if there was a Mario Kart style bonus features and
Medium
arcadey,
right.
like getting boosts, putting down spike traps.
Medium right into.
Since Nintendo games are
Open hairpin right.
impossible to show on YouTube without Nintendo claiming the copyright on them, plus very difficult to record in the first place,
Easy left.
the
Big jump
PC
into.
gamers in particular
Under bridge.
are
Medium left.
not
100.
greatly served. That was an actual jump. They're not greatly served on Steam for an arcade style racing game,
60
and
to finish.
and if you were gonna have that style of racing with this style of graphics, you've really done something quite amazing, I would say. And they don't have to get too crazy with it. It could just be a side thing. But one of the other series of racing games that comes out has you driving as somebody, what is that? Need for Speed? Yeah, I think that's it. Need for Speed has you driving around with cars that you've stolen, and you're being chased by. So you don't move.
Uphill.
I started early that time. You don't move until it goes green. So
Over crest.
in theory, you
Medium
can
left
just
opens. Camber,
accelerate
keep in.
the whole time. I assume the implication there is that you're in neutral until you go green, and then you shift into drive.
Medium right.
Of course, it seems also strange that,
Medium
particularly in
left.
rally
Camber, keep
car
in.
racing, I don't have a manual transmission option.
Crest.
That
Jump.
would be an extra button, certainly, and it would drive me crazy if I had to hit like the X and the
40.
A button to
Easy
shift
left
up
over
and
crest.
shift down.
Easy right. into.
Or
Easy left
if they made it
long.
really hard, well, I have to hit like the left bump and then the X button, so I release the clutch and then shift up and then shift
6
down.
feet through building. 120 uphill.
But
Crest
I think
into. Medium
some
left,
people
very long,
would
cambered.
actually
Keep in.
enjoy that. And it seems like a shame that that feature's not here.
Medium right. Medium
but-
right into.
For what here, it is amazing. It just feels really small. Now, the company that made this is Codemasters, which
Crest.
is kind of a weird
Easy right.
company because they
Easy left. Big jump.
they
into.
made several of these racing games, and it's kind of their bread and butter. And it's definitely not what I know Codemasters for. No, because Codemasters also made several other games that were just side experiments on things that they're not that they'd never tried before. So they made a series of games called Overlord and Overlord 2, which is effectively a more mature version of Pikmin. And I've covered Overlord, and I plan to eventually play Overlord 2 at some point in the future, probably some distant point in the future. They also worked, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, I might be wrong about this, but I believe they made the original game of Dead Island, which is a zombie MMO style game. It's a zombie RPG with up to 4 players, and Codemasters have made several other games too, but then they've kind of not done incredibly well with those games, and they decided to just, I think if I'm remembering right, they decided to just announce that they're going to go back to sticking to their roots and making racing games, which, okay, fine. Dirt 4 is either out right now or it's going to be out pretty soon, and we'll see how that works. And they're kind of a small company, and that's why I'm a little bit willing to excuse the lack of variety here
There's
as far
something
as
about
races.
head-to-head competition that
but
brings out the best in you.
This
Good luck out
could
there.
have been bigger, a lot bigger. It seems kind of repetitive. Now, maybe when you get into the multiplayer, you make your own custom races and or things are just randomized, and maybe this is all just about multiplaying. So if that is the case, then that's not that big of an issue. That the single player is where isn't the main focus and doesn't have that many races. But I can only really even criticize it from the aspect of single player. I may try a multiplayer at the very end, but I'm not going to ever probably cover a game that's mainly just a multiplayer game, because those multiplayer servers go down. The people that play multiplayer on them are either there during the first weeks that the game is out and then they move on to the next game, or they stay with the game and become such experts that anybody new trying to play multiplayer 6 months or a year later has no chance of winning at all. And so those games don't have much I can criticize about, nor much I can really say anything about. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.